secondary together. Travis Moore is an all-star too. He's the veteran ace of the Calgary receiving corps and the CFL's leading pass catcher.
They are former teammates and friends off the field, but tonight when Eddie Davis crosses the white stripe, he goes to war with Moore. And Davis is the key through the air, but it's Shante Peoples that will be looked to lead the Riders in limiting the Stamps ground attack.
Well, after a great start, the Roughriders are scrambling again, trying to find a way to win after 2 straight losses. Success in a home-and-home series with the Stampeders is critical to the Riders' playoff promise to their faithful fans.
It's a perfect night for this important game. 24 degrees, the wind is north at 17, which is nothing here in Taylor Field. The weather should not be a factor tonight.
By his own admission, Wally Buono is having a rough year in 11-plus seasons as the Stampeders head coach. Buono has won more than any in team history, but this year has been a struggle.
Danny Barrett won his first game out of the gate, but since then has lost 3 of 4, including 2 in a row. And like every coach that has ever walked the sideline here in Regina, the pressure is starting to mount on Danny Barrett.
Ready for the kickoff at Taylor Field. Saskatchewan kicking to Calgary. The Stampeders won the toss and elected to receive. This is Antonio Warren. Nice move, nice run. Warren is all the way to the Saskatchewan 40. And McCallum, the kicker, had to get over to help with the tackle. 58-yard kickoff and 51 on the return to get things off to a great start.
Early momentum for the Calgary Stampeders. Antonio Warren averages 24 yards per return. It's been a huge surprise and a great surprise for Wally Buono and the Calgary Stampeders, and he's got him some early momentum.
Marcus Crandall leads all quarterbacks in the efficiency ratings and trails them all in victories so far this season. What a great place to begin, though, just outside the Saskatchewan 40. Kelvin Anderson takes it to the outside, and a big start for Calgary offensively as well. Travis Moore is the CFL's #1 pass receiver. Mark Boerichter and Vince Danielson both having solid seasons, and Kelvin Anderson is 3rd in rushing superstar tonight. Behind an offensive line, Jamie Crysdale is the anchor in the middle for Calgary.
Kelvin Anderson all year long has been doing what he's done all his career, and that's run the football effectively. If there's a criticism, it is that he hasn't done it throughout the whole game.
16 yards in the previous play for Anderson, and a first down at the 27. Harden making the stop there.
Well, the front 4 in Saskatchewan have got the pressure on them tonight. They've added Nate Davis, former NFL draft pick, 2nd round, to the Atlanta Falcons to help stop the run. And in the secondary, they're ranked #1 in the league against the pass. Sean Gallant is the safety. Eddie Davis,
gain of 3.
Former Stampeder.
This is 2nd and 7 Calgary with 4 receivers split to the far side of the field to test that Saskatchewan secondary. Long toss, and no one is home as Marcus Crandall had a little problem finding a receiver there, or there was a mix-up.
Well, Eddie Davis was covering on Travis Moore, and Travis Moore tripped on the play. It's a matchup we'll watch all night long. Travis Moore plays the inside position. That's where Eddie Davis lines up, of course. Davis, a former Calgary Stampeder, and you see Travis Moore down on the ground, and Davis just trying to run under that football. They're friends off the field, but tonight they'll battle.
Mark McLaughlin is in for 3rd and 7, good on 12 of 14. 85% of his field goal tries so far this season. Now, tough snap. McLaughlin pokes it through, however. And after a 51-yard kickoff return by Antonio Warren, the Stampeders settle for 3. It's Wendy's CFL Live. A little heat on the head coach this week.
There always is in Regina if you lose a couple of games in a row, and Danny Barrett is feeling a little of that heat.
That means there's heat on the quarterback as well. Marvin Graves won 2 of his first 3 games as Saskatchewan's #1 guy. The last 2, though, have been a struggle. More touchdowns than interceptions, but only by 1. 8 touchdowns leads the CFL, however.
Well, and they have to finish drives. 24 points in week 4 versus Toronto when they got blown out, and then last week versus Winnipeg, just 14 points.
After the Calgary field goal, Saskatchewan beginning first down at the 35. Darren Davis, and that one is stuffed immediately. Maybe a 1-yard gain, if that, as Jeff Traversy got there. James Epps is back in a wideout spot for the second time in 3 weeks. For Curtis Marsh, it's time to light it up again. Just 3 catches last week, and Davis will run the ball for Saskatchewan. Up front, a great line. Dan Comiskey and Gene McCoskey anchor the right side.
Darren Davis missed last week's game with a bit of a hamstring injury. Didn't practice all week a week ago. This week, though, he took every single rep. And that's why he gets the start tonight.
This is a 5-receiver pack for Saskatchewan. As Graves looks to the near side, and at the 40 has a catch. Alondra Johnson is right with him. Dylan Ching making the reception.
It's a defensive front 7 that ranks 7th in the league. The Riders are 8th, stopping the run. The Calgary Stampeders 7th, and they don't fare much better against the pass this year. This secondary ranks 6th, and they have generated just 1 interception, that by Greg Freyers, the safety. They've got to come up with some more turnovers.
It'll be 3rd down Saskatchewan as McCallum steps in. Moore and Warren are back. For McCallum's first punt, had to pull it down. He'll run for the first down. Paul McCallum steps out at the 50. Huge play. Aldi Henry forcing him out. A little pressure from Henry, and that forced him out of the pocket for a 19-yard gain. So a couple of huge plays to begin this one.
Paul McCallum always has the green light to do this. Aldi Henry is the guy responsible for containing McCallum and making sure that he kicks the football. He tried to go for the block. McCallum held the ball and took off running. He's got the green light, and he's a veteran. He's got a lot of poise. He saw there was no other tacklers in the area and could pick up the first down.
19 is the gain. First down Saskatchewan at the Calgary 50. Nice play action fake, and the pass to a wide open spot far side of the field. Marsh appeared to be the closest receiver, but he was at least 15 yards away.
Well, you mentioned the pressure on Marvin Graves. You know, there wasn't any pressure on Graves in week 1, and everyone was saying that maybe Graves was the guy after they came back and beat Hamilton 30-28. And you saw Marsh 7 catches in that game, and all of a sudden after a couple of losses, Marvin Graves is no good. Danny Barrett's defending his quarterback and will all the way.
See, now I didn't say that. I just said there was pressure on him.
No, you didn't, but there are people saying that.
2nd and 10 Saskatchewan. Graves to his right. Doesn't run off and may take off here. He'll be stopped well short of the first down. Gain of about 5 near the 45. And Ricky Bell made the tackle. The most popular guy in Saskatchewan is usually the backup quarterback.
Oh, I know that well. I mean, in 11 years playing here, when we had Ken Austin and Tom Burgess, it just depended on who won. If Ken Austin won a game, he was the guy. If it was Burgess, he was the guy. I mean, and their one loss, and everyone wanted the backup. But, you know, there's a lot of pressure, and everybody in this city, because this team is so important to them, they want to run it.
And every once in a while, the most popular guy in Saskatchewan was the backup safety. But then that's another story.
Yeah, we'll not go there right now.
Paul McCallum gets set to punt for the 2nd time. He follows through on this occasion, and Warren has it near the 5. Swarmed by a whole pile of green jerseys down there. 1 on the return, nicely punted by Paul McCallum for 42. McCallum really did a heck of a job for the Roughriders on 2 plays. Look where the Stampeders are starting. Back at the 5-yard line, first down. It's Kelvin Anderson straight ahead, carried 1 rider or 2.
Well, it really was a big play by McCallum. That fake, he was punting from deep in his own end when he faked it. And that fake picked up 35 yards.
So Kelvin Anderson, with the yards that he's picked up here so far tonight, moves up in that Stampeder rushing list. Just 1 yard in the previous play, so this is 2nd and 9. Stampeders at the 6. Crandall has a target, and Vince Danielson made the catch, or rather Bo Richter made the catch, number 89. Passing Willie Burden with his yardage so far tonight into 3rd spot on the all-time list, behind Coleman, who's catchable, and Lunsford, who's still a yard or 2 away.
Yeah, but he'll pass him as well before it's over. Kelvin Anderson, he hasn't been the problem for Calgary, who started the season 1-4.
Gain of 14 for Mark Bo Richter. Stampeders out at the 20. A little more breathing room there. Here's Kelvin Anderson, met in the backfield. Morgan was there. Omar Morgan. And 0 is the gain.
Well, everybody talking all week long, like they have all year long, about stopping the run and all the pressure on the front 7. But the defensive backfield also have to pitch in and help. And Morgan did just that.
They've added new faces up front over the last couple of weeks. The newest is Nate Davis, number 98. 2nd and 10. Intercepted. It was an easy one at the 40-yard line. McCalla with his 3rd of the year. There was a late hit on Marcus Crandall and a flag down. Could be roughing the passer. Sean Gallant was all over the Stampeder quarterback.
Yeah, Sean Gallant came from the safety position on the blitz. And the flag was right beside Marcus Crandall. Gallant is number 2. Ball's gone. Yeah, that's 2 steps.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Saskatchewan number 2. Holding. Saskatchewan number 2. Decline. Oh.
Well, roughing the passer was the penalty.
And a little confusion after that. The holding can't be on the guy who got to the passer.
Well, no, because Sean Gallant got the roughing the passer call, then he turned around and was talking to the official, so he couldn't have been holding anybody. Plus, Marcus Crandall was lying on the ground.
And it's all good news for the Calgary Stampeders, who were back at the 20 and are now out at the 35 with a first down. And the interception by McCalla obviously wiped out. 1st and 10 Calgary, 35-yard line. Stamps leading at 3-0 on a first drive field goal. Kelvin Anderson turns the corner and has about 4, maybe 5 yards.
Well, that time it was Ladolphus McCalla coming up to help out in run support. Run support isn't just the responsibility of the front 7. The defensive backfield also has to get involved, especially when they're playing zone and can face the line of scrimmage or face the offensive formation. And we've seen a couple of defensive backs, Omar Morgan and Ladolphus McCalla, now getting involved in run support. Ranked 8th in the league heading into this week.
Aubrey Cummings to the near side. A 5-receiver set for Calgary on 2nd and 5. Right on the money for Travis Moore, the leading receiver in the CFL. Lost the ball after he was down. Maybe not.
No.
They call it a fumble.
Sure did.
I thought he was down, but they call it a fumble. Saskatchewan does get the ball back. Recovered by a former Stampeder, Eddie Davis.
Well, maybe Sean Gallant got involved there and maybe made up for an early mistake. We saw him roughing the passer. That kept this drive alive. It's Gallant that breaks downhill on this and will tackle Travis Moore. And as he's going down, Moore will fumble the football. He lands on top of Gallant, and has not touched the ground yet. So it's a good call by the official because Gallant pulls him down on top of him. Ball comes out there. He caused the fumble. Saskatchewan recovers.
So it'll be first down Roughriders at the 35. Darren Davis following Chris Zarka, and he ran into Johnson and Willie Fells in the middle.
There's a question in the media this week that Darren Davis may have been in the doghouse, and I talked to Danny Barrett about that because after the Toronto game and the big 50-24 blowout, Darren Davis said in the media that he wanted the ball more. But you know what? Every single running back that's ever played the game wants the ball more.
And so does every receiver, right?
Yeah, and there's absolutely no controversy going on between him and Danny Barrett.
Saskatchewan facing 2nd and 8. Time to throw. Almost intercepted. Davis, or rather Fields, got his hands on the ball.
William Fields cut underneath of Curtis Marsh and did everything but catch the football. He read it perfectly. He broke on the football coming from the right of your screen. Does everything but catch it. And that went right through his hands. But it did distract Curtis Marsh just enough so that he couldn't catch it. And it'll go down in the book as a knockdown.
Marsh was in behind, but a good play. by William Fields. McCallum's first kick, 42 yards. This into a bit of a breeze, not quite as effective. And it bounces out, giving Calgary an excellent place to begin after a 29-yard punt. First and 10 Calgary near the Stampeder 45. Mark Boerichter had an outstanding rookie season with 1,000 yards on 63 receptions.
Week 1 versus Winnipeg, just the 18 yards, but he's picked it up the last couple of weeks. In fact,
that was a touchdown toss. Couple against the Argonauts last week in a losing cause. Here's Kelvin Anderson. And Anderson is out near midfield at the 55. Jackie Mitchell back in the Riders lineup over to make the tackle.
But when he makes a catch, they're for touchdowns. And in the last two games, he has 3 touchdowns, as a matter of fact, and those are the distance that he's caught them in. 72 and 60 last week versus Toronto. In the last couple of weeks, he's averaging 111 yards and has 3 touchdowns. In the first 3 weeks, it was just 31 yards. So they found Mark Boerichter in the Calgary offense.
Certainly have. Stampeders are first down near midfield. Oh, intercepted again. Gallant having quite a night. He's everywhere. Took the penalty, made a play earlier after that, and almost made a huge play there. Travis Moore was the intended receiver. Sometimes knockdowns are as good as ICs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, it's a thing where you make a mistake early in the football game, you want to make up for it. And Sean Gallant has really bared down the last couple of series. He caused that fumble, and there very nearly had that pick.
Marcus Crandall looks at 2nd and 10 near midfield. Had to get it just to an open spot. Grounded it on purpose. No one was home. There was heat on him from George White, and another penalty. Peoples was also in the neighborhood, so we'll see if they roughed the passer or not.
Another penalty right by Marcus Crandall. Shante Peoples is limping.
There's no infraction on the play. The pass was over the line of scrimmage. 3rd down.
That's all they have to do on getting rid of the football. Just get it across the line.
That would be a major blow to the Riders if Shante Peoples can't come back. He's coming off the edge and will be one-on-one most of the night with Fred Childress. He's involved along with George White, the linebacker, and you can see him limping off.
Peoples is having a great season, 4 sacks already. Duncan O'Mahony for Preston. This is roll Preston. Fields it at the 15. And he's out to about the 20. Wrapped up there by Pilon after a 13-yard return. Keys for success tonight as we look at it.
Well, Calgary has to turn up the intensity both physically and mentally on defense. They only have 3 takeaways. If you play aggressively, you can create some more turnovers. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they've got to get those backs involved. They've just touched the ball 33% of the time. That gets up to 40, close to 50%. That will add about 9 touches per game, which is huge. No speech needed in this one.
Yeah.
Look at the standings.
You don't have to get the book.
No.
And quote Newt.
No rah-rah speech needed here. Just look at the standings. That's how important this game is for both teams.
Marvin Graves first down. Had a receiver open. No catch over there. Tried to get it to Davis.
See, and that's fine. I mean, we wanted to get him to the backs, and that's what we're talking about for a key for Saskatchewan. Get the football to Darren Davis, and if it's Rock Preston in the game, that's fine too. And it doesn't have to just be running the football. Dumping the ball out of the backfield. Little passes when he gets down the field a little bit like he did right there on the out. And I talked to Danny Barrett before the game about that. He said, no question, that's in our game plan.
Riders looking at 2nd and 10 near the 20. James Epps to the near side. Chance to get it away. He had Preston, who will have the first down. That's roll Preston as Marvin Graves spotted him at the last possible second.
Roll Preston did what you have to do as receiver running a curl pattern. That's come back to the football because he came right back into the hole. If he stands there, Calgary has a chance to get it. And if he waits on it, they come up with the big play. Graves buys some time, but watch how he's coming back towards it when he catches it. comes back. In fact, he loses 3 yards because momentum has taken him all the way back to the line of scrimmage, but he had to do that to make the catch.
Big play for Earl Preston, his 18th catch of the season for 15 yards, and the Riders are quickly out near the 35. Darren Davis for about 3 more.
And on to number 8, Darren Davis.
Alondra Johnson was in on the tackle. He lost his lid and the tube.
That's new equipment. Those weren't around when I played. Darren Davis, whether or not he gets 3, 13, 10, it doesn't really matter. The key for this is to try and create some dominance in that offensive line. Danny Barrett was saying that the key there is to have them fire off the ball, make the defensive line respect the running game. That'll open up other things. The yardage isn't always as important as that.
They picked up 3 on the previous play, so this is 2nd and 7 from the shotgun. It's Graves. Batted down. Heavy pressure.
Joe Fleming involved. Graves has had this happen to him a couple times this year where it just comes out of his hand, but I think he had a little help here. Trying to step up into the pocket. Jacobs coming off the edge. There's Joe Fleming. Just got a piece of that elbow. And that's an incomplete pass because the arm was going forward.
McCallum is in again. Antonio Warren stands back at the 30. Just 3 points on the board. McLaughlin.
Let go!
Calgary's first offensive drive. Warren grabbed from behind by Andy Davis. The punt returns 7 yards. The punt traveled 40.
Last week, Travis Moore had maybe his worst outing. Not because he wasn't getting open, but because the Calgary offense just wasn't moving. And that was in a 36-35 loss to Toronto. But before that, in that game versus the BC Lions, it was all Moore. A couple touchdowns, 168 yards. It's the 1 touchdown in week 4 versus BC. Huge game for him. And he leads the league.
And that was Calgary's victory over the Lions. Stampeders first down beginning at the 40 on this drive. Crandall to his right, fired high. Looking for
Shante Peoples is hurt, John. I mean, he usually will be able to keep contained better than he did on Marcus Crandall right there. He's still limping back to the huddle. Watch out. It's going to be Shante Peoples up the field, number 58. His job is to keep Marcus Crandall in there. When he gets outside, he just couldn't chase him down and make up any ground. Now, the ball was overthrown. You got to keep our eye on Shante Peoples because he's not playing 100% right now.
2nd and 10 Stampeders from the 40. Calgary with a 3-0 lead. Shotgun for Crandall. Pressure again. He was looking for Kelvin Anderson, number 32, but there was too much heat. Ansel and Smith were right in his face.
Yeah, Smith was there. Travis Smith came from the backside of the formation. He gets the pressure. Shante Peoples was working on Thomas Raham and watching him closely because he gets pancaked by Thomas Raham. Slammed to the ground.
Duncan O'Mahony is in. A little rock and roll on this return as the Preston brothers are back standing at the 30-yard line. Rock, the CFL veteran, Roll, a CFL rookie. And the younger brother is number 15.
The older brother, number 14, calls it. So the punt goes up in the air. And it's Rock Preston that gets to say, mine, mine, or yours, yours. And he, so he gets the call there.
Outside, Saskatchewan, number 45, still 3rd down.
Randy Shorchinski was called there. It won't matter much because it was 3rd and 10, now 3rd and 5.
And he leads the league. He's been a great special teams player for the Riders all year long. He leads the league in tackles. You're right, it shouldn't change much.
Well, O'Mahony had trouble with the snap. Not a great kick, but he did get it away. As a result, there will be no return for Rock. Stopped in his tracks at the 30. And there's another penalty marker back at the 50-yard line.
Duncan O'Mahony had to go down low to get this football. When he does, it just slips through there. Saskatchewan almost blocks it.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 39. First down.
Well, two penalties have really changed field position for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Go back to Sean Gallant's penalty when the Calgary Stampeders were bottled up way back on their 5-yard line. This penalty adds on some more yardage, and now Saskatchewan's playing most of this quarter deep in their end.
Add the 2 penalties right there, and I mean, it wasn't a terrific kick by O'Mahony, but the Stampeders come out of it not badly, forcing Saskatchewan to begin inside the 20. The Riders have punted on their last 3 possessions. 3 receivers to the near side. Straight ahead with Darren Davis. And he ran into Willie Fells and Ray Jacobs.
Davis will pick up 5.
5 yards, so positive yards on the run game.
Well, here's as simple as I can put it. 2 wins for Saskatchewan this year. Darren Davis has averaged 12 rushes for 66 yards. In the 2 losses that Darren Davis played in, they've lost 3 times, but he only played in 2 of those games. He averaged 6 rushes for 26 yards, about half.
So it's fairly simple, is what
They
you're
win,
saying.
they give him the ball.
2nd and 5. Epps made the catch and had nowhere to go after that, so he's close to a first down. James Epps. We'll see where the spot actually is, because he retreated just a little bit to try and find a little better advantage.
Right, again, coming back to the football, he had to do that, and then he got up and tried to get the first down on his own. James Epps been in and out of the lineup with Demetrius Bendros. He's had a bad shoulder.
Epps played 2 weeks ago. Bendros played last week.
Right.
Bendros hurt again, so Epps is back in tonight. Well, they line up the Wilson. It's about a half a yard shy.
Decision time for Danny Barrett, especially in your own end. It's only a yard, but it's still a huge gamble.
Well,
we saw a whole bunch of turnovers last night in Winnipeg. Kahari Jones on the goal line fumbled one. That's why it becomes a gamble, even though it's just 1 yard, especially down in your own end.
Well, Zarka's gone in, so I'm thinking that they'll follow number 33 here, or at least have him in there as the decoy. Straight ahead, no flags. First down, Saskatchewan, as Marvin Graves carries for 1 yard on the final play of the opening quarter. So the Riders look for a little more positives, or at least a few more positives, as they begin the second quarter at Taylor Field.
Wendy, CFL live at the quarter.
Well, I think the biggest play has been Paul McCallum, the punter, faking the punt and scrambling for a first down. Kind of tells you what kind of game we have, but it's early. Schulte, 3-0 Calgary. What do you see?
Well, I see a defensive line for Saskatchewan, in my estimation, that is already improved. Both of the new guys, Nathan Davis and Cedric Harden, 6'6", 270 and 315 pounds. When I broke the huddle playing as an offensive line, if I saw a linebacker stepping up, I was like, great, no problem. But when I saw a guy 6'6" or 6'7" into that 300-pound range, I said, please don't be quick. These guys have great feet. They are good athletes. And I see a difference already in the defensive line for the Roughriders, Matty.
Well, I like your word stepping up, Chris, because I see a guy in the secondary. He's not as big as those guys in the interior. But I'm talking about Sean Gallant stepping up. He's having an impact in the first quarter. He continues like this. He's having a fabulous game. Here, questionable call, a little late here on Crandall. Hey, a little overzealous early. What does he do the next play? He says, Moore, give me the ball. He gets a turnover for his football team. And he steps up big. Breaks on the ball very nicely here. This is exactly how far, it shows me exactly how far the Saskatchewan secondary is coming in a year. They're relying on a pass rush from that defensive line, and they're reaping the rewards, Eric, from that.
You know, Matt, from what I see in these first 15 minutes, it's clear that the Stamps came into this game with the mindset that they were going to try to establish the run. Now, as Chris said, clearly these interior guys at Saskatchewan have played well, but Kelvin Anderson has been effective outside in the running game, and I think it's imperative that they continue to try to run the football with him. When you've got a young quarterback, the running game is an essential part of taking the pressure off of him. Stick with the running game. Eventually, they're going to get a big play there.
Well, 20 minutes from now, there is one more game kicking off out west. It has a couple of teams coming off wins. Edmonton at BC, second meeting between these two so far this season. Let's get you back to Taylor Field for second quarter action. John and Glenn, guys.
Ready for the second quarter here. It's not sold out, but there's a nice crowd on hand at Taylor Field tonight. And the Riders are hanging in there thus far, trailing by 3. Critical first down on the final play of the opening quarter for Saskatchewan. Sets this up at the 30, first down. Marsh has his first catch of the night. Nice run after he made it. Curtis Marsh. And the numbers in the opening quarter look fairly even when you look down the list.
Yeah, really even down here. But this is what I'm looking at. 36 yards for both teams rushing. Both teams want to establish the run. Calvin Anderson, Calgary, Darren Davis in Saskatchewan. That's 144 yards in the game. You get 36 a quarter.
And that'll work.
That works.
Now, Stampeders win when Anderson rushes for over 100 under normal circumstances. Riders win when Davis does. What if they both get that 164? Are we in overtime?
Well, you had to ask that.
Darren Davis ran into Willie Fell.
That takes it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And number 51, Alondra Johnson.
Darren Davis pounding up in there. Got a nice lead blocked by Gene Mikowski. You know, and that's why people here in Saskatchewan are so surprised of the lack of running game from the Roughriders, because they have such a solid offensive line, all veterans across the board. You know, arguably the best offensive line in the league, and I know there's 7 others going, hey, wait a minute.
These guys are pretty good up front
But
here,
they
without
are good.
question. A veteran group for the most part. 2nd and 6. It'll be another Saskatchewan first down out at midfield. And it's Marsh again, wrapped up in a hurry by Ricky Bell, number 26. One of 3 rookies in that Calgary Stampeders secondary.
Curtis Marsh, sort of a lot of talk all year long about him. Is he going full speed on every single play? Does he take plays off? Does he only show up at certain times in the game? I talked to the coaching staff about Curtis Marsh, and what they're getting him to do now is to self-evaluate. At the end of the game, he watches the film and he has his grade sheet. Are you going hard on every play? Seems to have helped to improve that.
First down, a little pitch to Darren Davis. Well read by the Stampeder defense. And Bell led the tacklers there. The gain is limited to less than a yard.
And number 76, Joe Fleming. Only about a yard on the play.
You know, it's interesting on Marsh when you look at the numbers: 16 catches, 294 yards, 5 touchdowns. All came in 3 quarters. In the other 17 quarters so far this season, 11 catches, 130 yards, 0 TDs. So those are telling tales when you look at the stats that way.
That's why people are asking her, is he taking plays off? But the plays he has taken off have been running plays.
2nd and 9. Graves got out of there. He'll be a little shy of the first down. Ran into Alondra Johnson, who doesn't appear to have lost anything, does he? At 36 years of age, Johnson is still a force to be reckoned with.
Well, Marvin Graves had the choice. Get the extra yard for the first down and lose your onion, or keep your onion and just stay about a yard short, because Alondra Johnson was about to take it off right there. Leads the Stampeders with 25 tackles, had a couple of penalties last week that hurt his team. One was questionable. He took his helmet off and discussed things with an official, and one was a late hit on a quarterback. But he has not lost a step.
Wally was not very excited about a couple of calls that the officials made on his team last week. Paul McCallum will try the field goal here. Spotted at the 53, and he's wide, but he had enough length on it. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders really on 3rd and a long 1.5 yards. Settled for a field goal attempt and came up 2 points shy. It's 3-1 Calgary on Wendy's CFL Live. 52, but he has hit from 54 and was doing it in warm-up. Let's go down to Ray Morrison.
Thanks, Sean. We're here with Dan Farthing, a 10-year veteran of this football team that unfortunately has not been able to dress because of a hamstring injury. They could use your veteran leadership on the field. A lot of Rider fans coast to coast are wondering what the latest is.
Well, it's something that's progressing very, very slowly, actually, but it was a pretty severe tear, so we're being very cautious with it. I practiced a little bit this week, and things felt pretty good, so I'd like to be back in the lineup pretty quick.
All right, Dan, let's talk a little bit about the offense here for the football team. Your leadership could be used, as we talked about earlier. Tell me about how things have progressed here for the 2001 season from your perspective on the sidelines here.
Well, you know, we like to think that we have a lot of weapons out on the field, and you know, we just seem to be sputtering for whatever reason, and I don't think we can put our finger on just exactly what it is. It's a bunch of different things. So we have to get on track in a big hurry, and I know Calgary's thinking the same way.
All right, thank you very much, Dan Farthing. Let's go back to John.
We watched Bo Richter for 13 and another Stampeder first down across into Saskatchewan territory. Kelvin Anderson here.
Handoff number 32.
Off left tackle, and he ran into the new guy, Nate Davis.
Nate Davis for the Riders. Anderson will get about 5 yards.
Davis released from the Dallas Cowboys in 1999.
Actually good buddies with Fred Childress. Of course, will line up across from him. Fred Childress looked down the line and to see his old buddy Nate Davis over there, and they were joking with each other before the game.
They may go head-to-head before it's over. 5-yard gain for Anderson. Time to throw, and no one was home as Crandall looked for Vince Danielson.
The concern, John, for Nate Davis and for the coaching staff here is not whether or not he can stop the run. They feel because he has a little bit of NFL experience, like you mentioned in Dallas and Atlanta, he should be able to plug up the middle and do a nice job against the run. The question is, will he have the conditioning to last 4 quarters on this big, huge field?
Well, and they ran a few pounds off him after he arrived in Regina. He's been around on the practice roster. He's down to 6'5", 315 as listed in the program. Third down, kicking situation. O'Mani. And this is Roll Preston misjudging it. Now Rock goes into the end zone and will be forced to give up a single point.
Well, Roll Preston, he looked like he was doing the fair catch deal.
Yeah, it was kind of a goofy play down there. But the Prestons give up a single. Calgary retains a 3-point lead. Up here.
Well, there's Roll Preston. He's thinking back to his Packers days back in 1998. He's going to pretend to run the fair catch, hoping that the Calgary Stampeders will down the ball. That's the wrong league. You have to catch every punt.
And that's a dumb rule in the NFL.
It is. It's the worst rule they have. 11 big, huge guys walking down after the ball as it rolls down and then just touch it.
Yeah, they touch it. Ground it there. Saskatchewan first down, 35. Graves takes off. Second run for him, and
keep number 7, Marvin Graves.
He has positive yardage again. Stopped by Otis Floyd.
Graves will get about 6.
Better than 5. Looks like a 6-yard gain for Marvin Graves with 16 carries and just 15 yards coming into this one.
Yeah, he doesn't have a 1-yard average running the football, and obviously Danny Barrett saying, hey, you can use your legs, you can move around. If you don't see anything right away, take off and run, get 4 or 5.
4 carries, 20 yards tonight.
More than his 5-game total.
2nd and 4. Graves goes to the shotgun, and that one is hammered to the turf. It looks like Joe Fleming got a big paw on it.
And that's about as much of a celebration as you're going to see out of Joe Fleming. Just a little, you know, pump of the fist. He's right over here, just left of the post. Going to go straight up the field in what's called a straight bull rush. Gets his hands up, and then right after the play, just got a little pump of the fist, and then off to the bench.
Yeah, he doesn't celebrate a whole bunch. We talked to him before the game and asked him if he had a little dance in case he made it to the end zone. I don't dance.
He said, I don't dance. Okay, gotcha.
Then go, go! McCallum sails one down to the 25. Antonio Warren spins once, and he's across the 35. Ran into Randy Shrochinski, who leads the CFL in special teams tackles. First day of coverage at the Canada Summer Games in London, Ontario. 9 a.m. tomorrow. We'll have men's basketball with New Brunswick against Quebec. The opening ceremonies were today, and the games begin tomorrow.
Well, Shante Peoples is still on the field right now. And he's working one-on-one with Fred Childress, a matchup that we've been watching. He's nicked early in the game. He's the guy responsibility for contain.
Stampeders begin at the 36. Crandall to the far side on target. He's got Travis Moore, number 83, and Moore was wrapped up by Omar Morgan. Enough for a first down. easily.
That'll be a first down for the Stampeders.
Peoples is coming right up here. He's working on Fred Childers, and you can see no Peoples. So no Peoples. Crandall has tons of time to throw, and Shante Peoples has really been the consistent pass rush pressure for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, coming off a game with 2 sacks. It looks like he's about 70% right now.
Travis Moore, a 2-time All-Canadian, has 18. Another long toss and confusion down there between quarterback and a couple of receivers. Crandall fired it long. It looked like Moore might have been the target.
You know, I talk a lot about it because you have inexperience around Shante Peoples. Nate Davis is playing in his first game. We've talked about that. You got Cedric Harden, who's playing in his second game. So a lot of inexperience in that defensive line, and the Riders defensively don't know what kind of pass pressure they're going to get from those guys. That's why they rely so much on Shante Peoples. There's a look at Cedric Harden. What will he do? This is his second game.
Harden was in camp. This is his second start, as Glenn says. And this is 2nd and 10. Yeah! Coverage was a little tight, and a flag does come down. Evans was covering, but the official that threw the flag had to be 25 yards away.
Of all pass interference calls, I think this is my pet peeve. This one right here.
Travis Moore was the intended receiver.
Well, I'll tell you why. Travis Moore is running the curl. And if Travis Moore sits there and waits for the football, the defensive back, in this case Omar Evans, continues back towards it. His right arm is automatically going to be on the back of Travis Moore. You just really can't get away from that. You're breaking down on the receiver. Your one hand is on the receiver. The other hand's going around to strip the football. If the receiver's not working back, there should be no call. But it is called, and
First down, Stampeders on the Rider.
over and over again.
Don't get upset this early in the show.
They're not listening to me.
Calgary first down. Nice little pass for Antonio Warren. He turns it into a first down. And George White caught him from behind, number 38. Another super year for White, leading the team in tackles.
When you got a guy like Antonio Warren and Calvin Anderson, you always wonder, can you start platooning the two of them? Get Warren in there a little bit. Get him going one-on-one with George White. Try and wear down a linebacker who's a great tackler and leading the league, but not that big. And then put Calvin Anderson back in the game.
Stampeders in a no-huddle offense with 4 receivers to the far side. Now Warren will carry 4 yards at least. Napustik made the tackle, number 92.
It's a similar situation to what we saw in Winnipeg last night with 3 running backs in Troy Mills and Eric Blunt and Charles Roberts.
It worked well for the Bombers last night.
Right, and they have that situation here in Calgary. You put on Antonio Warren in there, you put Kelvin Anderson in there. Sooner or later the defense gets worn down, but your running back stays fresh. And with Warren averaging, over 10 yards in punt returns and doing real well in kickoff returns, I want to see him get the ball as well.
Warren did get 4 yards. This is 2nd and 6. Calgary set up inside the Saskatchewan 25. Crandall can't connect with Bo Richter.
Well, Saskatchewan defensively bent a little bit but didn't break. And
third down, and McLaughlin comes on for another field goal attempt. 1 for 1 from 32 for McLaughlin so far tonight.
Saskatchewan defense has done a lot of that this year. They're ranked in the middle of the pack, giving up points, 25 a game. You take away that Toronto debacle where they gave up 50, and they played pretty well. Easy for me to say. Defensively.
McLaughlin will have it spotted on the 30. He hits on over 80% of his field goals and has one more there. It's been a kicker's duel so far. McLaughlin leading McCallum. It's 7-1 in Saskatchewan. Wally Buono has had a few concerns this season, a few more here tonight, Ray.
Yeah, no question about it, John. As far as Calvin Anderson is concerned, he's twisted his knee. He didn't play during that last series that Calgary had on offense, so they've put some ice on it. They're going to send him for a couple series and see how he looks late in the half here.
First down, Saskatchewan. Graves goes deep. He's on the money. James Epps, huge catch. Super speed. displayed by Epps in his second start in 3 weeks.
And a lot of that pressure on Marvin Graves over the last 2 weeks was, does he have the arm strength to win? They're up at the top here, and it's just a straight go pattern. Well, he threw that football about 65 yards on a rope and right in James Epps' hands. That looked like he had the arm strength.
A 61-yard gain, setting Saskatchewan up inside the Stampeder 15. First real threat by the Roughriders here tonight. 5:22 to go till halftime. 4 receivers near side. Nowhere to throw. The ball comes loose. And did they call it a fumble or not?
Yeah, they are.
They have ruled it a fumble as Graves had it stripped away, and it's recovered by James Cotton. Or Cotton stripped it away.
That's right, and Alondra Johnson picked it up. Cotton was right in the middle of that pass rush. Graves had nowhere to throw the football. The pocket was collapsed down there. Ray Jacobs doing a nice job off the edge. Cotton is there, strips the football out of there, and it bounces right to Alondra Johnson. So again, another opportunity for the Riders, and it disappears in a hurry.
It did, didn't it?
And there's the veteran Alondra Johnson stepping up and recovering the fumble caused by James Cotton. 3 sacks on the year for Mr. Cotton. It's been a nice find to play opposite of Ray Jacobs.
Alondra Johnson always makes an impact on the football field. 1st and 10, Stampeders beginning at the 10. Jump ball. Stampeders come up with it as Crandall found Travis Moore the hard way. Tight coverage on Moore. He waited for the ball to come back to him and made the catch for a first down.
And now Travis Moore, he looks like he's looking for his contact. Got his contact knocked out. And if you're a receiver, you want your contacts in.
And you want them clean.
Because that ball looked like a BB if you don't have your contacts in there. And here comes the throw, and Saskatchewan Roughriders have a better chance at it than Travis Moore. That was Omar Morgan. He tips it up, and right in that hit at the end of that play, the contact is gone. Now, Calgary obviously hoping he has a spare over there on the sideline.
Moore picks up 11, and the Stampeders are out near the 22. Another first down, Calgary. Crandall simply hands it to Antonio Warren, and Warren is wrapped up by George White. Nice play by 38, George White.
Well, George White makes up for his lack of size with great speed and pursuit to the football, leads the league in tackles with 31 so far. He lines up here and then just flies this way to make that hit. Step up, take on the block, and then look at the speed to the outside.
White was All-Canadian in his rookie year of 2000. Had 10 tackles in a losing cause against Winnipeg last week. 2nd and 7. This will be another Stampeder first down as Crandall connects again. Vince Danielson this time.
Saskatchewan Roughriders came with a little pressure, but it was well blocked up front by the offensive line of the Calgary Stampeders. Watch these guys up here do the job. Pressure, here it comes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys coming off the end. Eddie Davis, one of them from the secondary. But well blocked up, giving Crandall enough time to find the receiver. Big Fred Childress was looking forward to this game, playing against his old teammate Shante Peoples.
17 yards the gain. Another first down attempt there. And Bo Richter is there for the catch. 3 minutes to go till halftime. Bo Richter has been a factor. Stampeders have a 6-point lead on Wendy's CFL Live from Regina.
Maddie, just a couple. Tillman a half.
Long toss. This could go for the touchdown. Moore is back into the game. He's into the end zone. What a brilliant play by Travis Moore.
He'll get into the end zone for a touchdown.
57 yards. Found the right contact.
He
or was
found
it the
his
left
contact
one?
lens. He sure did. What a pattern and throw. Marcus Crandall right on the money. Gets some blocking help from Antonio Warren to the outside. Look at the throwing lane he has. Great vision down the field, and Travis Moore had worked in behind Omar Morgan and then does the rest with his legs. You have to tackle Travis Moore with both arms.
Moore, a key part of the drive, a 53-yard touchdown, but he also got a key first down in a drive that started back at the Stampeder 11-yard line. And this place is a little quiet once more. 2:34 to go till halftime. Stampeders have a 14-1 lead.
You know, and when you think, remember Terry Vaughn played for Calgary. He played with Travis Moore. Of course, Terry Vaughn now plays with the Edmonton Eskimos. They really are the guys that really developed this yak yard thing. I mean, they love that. These guys take pride in what they do with the football after they catch it. And basically they're saying, we're not going down. A lot of receivers will catch the ball, just go down, be happy with the big gain. Not more. And that's why Marcus Crandall run all the length of the field to thank him, because that goes down as a touchdown pass now.
5 plays, 99 yards, and a 57-yard catch. The key play was the touchdown, or at least how Travis Moore found his way to the end zone after making the catch.
Wally Buono just happy that the training staff had another contact lens.
Interesting.
For Travis Moore.
When you look at the scoreboard here, Glenn, it was 14-1, Saskatchewan leading the Blue Bombers last week, and the Riders blew that opportunity for victory in Winnipeg.
Well, they lost 32-14.
Yeah, never scored again after
That's right.
Those points were on the board. So here are the Stampeders up 14-1, leading by 14 as we close in on halftime.
And now what we're seeing is the opposite. Let's see if it turns out that way.
Rock Preston strung out. He just fell down, flat out fell down.
A lot of the surprise of the Calgary Stampeders in their slow start at 1-4 is, you know, this is not something that's characteristic of this football team because of their consistency with the head coach.
Well, this guy's been around for a while. We speak of Wally Buono. And since he took over, 52 coaching changes have been made in the Canadian Football League. The Argos lead the league in something. 10 catches.
Yeah, well.
Winnipeg and BC have made 7 each. And the Ottawa Roughriders are on that list, too.
And during that time, Danny Barrett, the 6th coach here in Saskatchewan.
Davis escaped, and he turned the corner. What a great move by Darren Davis to pick up positive yards from a play that appeared dead. A little Houdini-like down there. Darren Davis got away and gets almost 9 yards.
Play is designed to go all the way to the left side. Jeff Travers, he kind of over pursues. Joe Fleming gets tackled, and Alondra Johnson gets picked off by his own guy. Add a little second effort from Darren Davis, and you got something out of nothing.
7 carries, 24 yards for Darren Davis thus far.
And more importantly, he right now has Marvin Graves in second and a long yard, or yard and a half. A lot of options here now. You can give it to Darren Davis again, run a little play action, and quarterbacks, like Danny Barrett used to be, love that situation.
The play that really has hurt Saskatchewan in this game so far was the long gain by James Epps on a sensational catch for 61 yards that got them down inside the 20, and they didn't come away with anything because they gave it right back on a fumble on the very next play. So that is grating on Danny Barrett, the Saskatchewan head coach right now. Well, we're off to Montreal next Thursday night. First visit to a great old football stadium for Wendy's CFL Live, Toronto and Montreal. Kickoff at 7:30 Eastern.
Every time we throw that promo up, the guys in the studio get hungry again.
Talked about Alondra Johnson a lot. He was shaken up, and that was the reason for a slight delay down there on the field. Saskatchewan looking at 2nd and 2 after a nice run by Darren Davis. This is Chris Sarka. Huge gain for Sarka out near the 50. You've got to keep this guy involved, too.
You do. 2nd and short, though, you get the opportunity to give it to Chris Sarka. If it's 2nd and long, he just will not be able to pick up the 10 yards. But if it's 2nd and medium, Calgary defense doesn't suspect him to get the football. There he goes. Now, remember, Alondra Johnson is out of the middle of that defense.
So 18 yards for Zarka.
So why not attack that spot?
Not a bad plan. Saskatchewan near the 50. It's a first down. Riders at the 49. Little shovel pass ahead. Davis. And he's close to another Saskatchewan first down. Darren Davis.
John,
and Greg Freres had to come up and make the tackle.
Our key for the Saskatchewan Roughriders was balance with the backs, talking about getting the football to the running backs. Darren Davis right here is going to go that way. Marvin Graves comes under, and the pitch goes that way. It's just a little shovel pass. The BC Lions do it all the time.
There's a missed tackle. Lock bomb right there.
Lock bomb in for Alondra Johnson. But that can be just as effective as handing the ball off to Darren Davis. It doesn't have to be the handoff. It can be that short little shovel, little dump pass out of the backfield. Just get it in his hands.
You're coaching again.
Oh, am I?
He's short of the first down by inches.
I'll coach if you know from up here until it's third down and about 1.5 yards at midfield, and I don't want anything to do with it.
You don't want to make a decision.
I don't want to make that decision.
Second down. Inches to go. Big play for the Riders. And that'll be enough for a first down.
Head off to number 8, Darren Davis.
You know, and we talking about getting that football to the running backs. Throwing the football so far this year, Marvin Graves has gone down the field with it primarily to the slot backs, wide receivers. Out of the 82 times he threw that football, only 15 have gone to running backs. You know, that shovel pass is a forward pass to Darren Davis.
Both teams have a timeout left. 1:05 to go in the opening half. Some excitement so far. Long toss to this side. Marsh makes the catch. He's out of bounds. Great catch by Curtis Marsh. Pretty good pass from Marvin Graves. Bell covering, but he couldn't keep 1 foot in bounds.
Yeah, well, he threw it where he had to throw it because you see Ricky Bell right on the shoulder of Curtis Marsh. Very close, but the official is right there, and he's got the great look at it, so we'll go with him.
And very little argument.
Well, you only need 1 foot, but obviously there was a couple of toes over the white line. But that's where Marvin Graves had to put the football with the coverage so close by Ricky Bell.
It's 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan inside the Calgary 50.
Alondra Johnson's back in.
3 receivers near side for Graves.
Oh, man. Willie Fells had that one read.
Hammered by number 39.
You know, and the screenplay works well against zone defense. But if your man is the screen man like Willie Fells, he's in charge of coverage on Darren Davis. That's my man. I'll just go up and tackle him right when he catches it. And boy, did he have him.
Stampeders have been high on Willie Fells, a welcome addition, ex-Tiger Cat, who became a free agent and signed on with the Stampeders. So from center field, McCallum will try another one. His longest this season is only 45, and that one is well short. So the Riders make some big plays, but can't get anywhere near the end zone or get it through the uprights. That was a long field goal try.
Well, you're right. They're not capitalizing. And now the time is running out in the first half because now the field position advantage doesn't mean as much. Finishing drives a problem for the Saskatchewan Roughriders last 2 weeks.
So McCallum has missed a couple tonight. And from 55, it's a little more excusable, of course. There was a slight breeze with him, but not a typical Saskatchewan win.
Well, Danny Barrett will ask Paul McCallum, you know, do you think you can make it? McCallum says yes, he feels like he can. He's got a little bit of a win, like you mentioned, goes give it a shot, but he just didn't hit that one very well. He kind of knuckled it and they never got a chance.
He didn't hit his previous one very well either. But he has the only point for the Riders tonight. Antonio Warren explodes out of there. having a great night as Warren is out to the 50-yard line, stopped by Jackie Mitchell.
You heard Ray Morris talk about the fact that Kelvin Anderson's over there on the bench with a bad knee, and this is the other aspect of having a guy like Antonio Warren on the bench for you. We talked about if they split time up between him and Calvin Anderson, they keep him fresh, but also it gives you depth. So if you do lose a guy, Antonio Warren goes in there and your offense doesn't skip a beat.
Stampeders have used their timeout now with 20 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, just 9 carries coming into this game and a 5.3-yard average, and that's what you look at with the running backs.
Keep thinking about the wasted opportunities for the Roughriders. I mean, the field goal misses are one thing, but the big play, 61 yards, and they came away empty inside the 20-yard line.
Absolutely. There's Calvin Anderson. They'll take a look at his knee at halftime to see if he can come back, but if Antonio Warren is still running the ball effectively, you don't think they'd want to rush Calvin Anderson into the lineup.
Crandall has Moore one more time down to the 31. Travis Moore.
Travis Moore, what a tremendous move he put on Eddie Davis. This is the 2 old teammates going one-on-one, and you know they've seen a whole bunch of each other over the years in practice. That's the end of the play, and just before he cut into the middle there, he made a cut to the outside, and Eddie Davis's spat was sitting out there. The spat is the tape you put over.
I understand.
Okay,
I've been
good.
around a little bit. Calgary scored on its last 3 drives. Here's a chance for 6 more. And not this time with 7 seconds on the clock. A punt, single, a field goal, and a touchdown. 11 points for the Stampeders' last 3 possessions.
Well, 2 big plays, though, to end this half. One from Travis Moore, one from Antonio Warren. You get a chance for a long field goal attempt. Take one crack at the end zone, and that was some move by Travis Moore.
Well, already a nice night for Travis Moore. 5 receptions, 143 yards. And for Moore, that will be his 17th career 100-yard game. And he gets it done in the first quarter. He could be hitting for 200 before we're done. Or at least the first half. Here's McLaughlin from the 47 seconds on the clock. A 39-yard try. And Mark McLaughlin misses one.
Will they take it
out? A
out?
bit of a rarity. Final play, and they'll try and avoid giving up a points, taking all the seconds off the clock. That was roll Preston, and that was the smart thing to do at that point in time.
Wally Buono wanted that one, you know that.
McLaughlin doesn't miss often, but he scored enough to give the Stampeders a nice little 13-point cushion heading to the dressing room at halftime. It's another pretty prairie night in Saskatchewan. First half, a case of missed opportunities for the hometown Roughriders. Here's Ray.
Danny Barrett, head coach of the Riders. They passed for over 200 yards on you, and yet at points and times, the secondary wasn't that bad.
Exactly right. You know, you look at the big play to Moore, you know, he made a great move there, out and up and everything. That accumulated a lot of yardage. And then at the end of the half, there's another one. So the defense is playing very well. Offensively, what we need to do is just finish some drives. We get down there and score in territory. We got to be able to capitalize and not turn the football over.
All right, Danny, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, Wally Buono has to be a little happier. I mean, we talked about the importance of this game and this series.
Yeah.
Home and home next week in Calgary.
Well, yeah, and you got to think, I mean, you lose both games in this series, whether you're Calgary or you're Saskatchewan and Danny Barrett, and you're right behind the 8 ball, because now not only are you in last place in the West Division, you're losing ground, but also you've lost 2 games to a Western Division opponent.
And it'll all be important in the final race without question. So some big plays for Wally Buono's team. The biggest was to Travis Moore, who took it all the way for the huge touchdown, 57 yards. Saskatchewan will receive the Calgary kickoff to get the second half underway. Here's Rock Preston. Nice little move there to grab a few extra yards and a blocker. So a solid start for Preston, who gets out near midfield at the 54 with a 39-yard return.
Sometimes a good return is set up by good blocking, and sometimes the returner just does it on his own. That's Rock Preston, and he basically does this one on his own. Nothing up in the inside, a little bounce to the outside, make Aldi Henry miss. Otis Floyd gets blocked a little bit there, and then it's just good footwork by Rock Preston.
Yeah, a smooth run, and the Riders begin at the 53-yard line. Calgary will get the wind in the fourth quarter here at Taylor Field tonight. Riders getting a little more balance there in play selection as you see those numbers. And they begin with a run to Darren Davis. Willie Fells made the tackle. Here's how the quarterbacks stacked up.
Well, I want to show you this one right here. See, zero interceptions for Marvin Graves. That relates to the balance that we showed you just a second ago. You put Marvin Graves in second and long, he's going to struggle more often. Marcus Crandall can handle it a little better. He's played better in that situation throughout the year. Graves has struggled.
2nd and 8. Riders right at midfield, trailing 14-1. Opening, and the throw goes nowhere as he reacted and looked for Roll Preston. Had protection, stepped out of the pocket, thought about the run, decided to throw, and overthrew the target.
Had good protection initially, stepped up in the pocket. There's that passing lane that he can look down the field, but you have to give credit to that Calgary secondary. There was really no one to throw to. I heard a couple of the fans here booing Marvin Graves as he came off the field. But look at Greg Frères. There's 3 Calgary Stampeders right there.
So it's another 2 and out for Saskatchewan after a great beginning on the kick return. Long kick from Paul McCallum. Antonio Warren gets out to the 15. 8 on the return, 48-yard punts. Marcus Crandall gets his turn when we return. Ready for a Stampeders 1st and 10. Calgary on top by 13. And here's how they got most of the points.
Great play to Travis Moore, his 2nd touchdown on the year. He came into the league leading the CFL in receiving yardage, but he only had 1 touchdown coming in this game. That was his 2nd. In the last 2 years prior to this year, he had 22 touchdowns.
Antonio Warren ran into George White.
You know, and sometimes that's just luck of the draw when you're talking about touchdown throws. Travis Moore, 22 in his last 2 years.
Just 15 last year.
Just 1 coming into this season, but sometimes it's just not your number. Your number is not called when they're down there in the scoring zone.
On the other hand, Mark Boerichter has 4 touchdowns, all on big plays. 2nd down, Stampeders. Crandall near side. Solid tackle after the catch. Peterson made the catch, Camus Peterson, and Omar Morgan hammered him after he made the reception.
Well, Travis Moore was in charge of going out there and trying to block Omar Morgan. He's right here in the screen, and he's got to get out here and cut him off. But he gets too deep down the field. Omar Morgan sneaks up. He's aggressive. He plays with confidence, and Travis Moore can't get there to make the block. And when he doesn't, Omar Morgan puts the hit on him.
35.
O'Mahony standing back inside his 5. Roll Preston, ready to return.
There, go.
A one-hopper at midfield. He misjudged that. And got back about 5 yards after a 51-yard punt. So Darren Davis has been a little busier for the Saskatchewan Roughriders tonight. And although it doesn't show on the scoreboard yet, there are some statistics that bear out the Riders are moving the ball more effectively at times.
Yeah, and they were down there right scoring range in the 5-yard line when they fumbled. And so they have had their opportunities in the first half, haven't finished them off like you talked about, but they have the balance in the offense that Danny Barrett told me they would do this evening.
And again, a decent place to begin at the 47. Marsh made the catch, wrapped up immediately after about a 6-yard gain. Anthony Pryor had him there.
Curtis Marsh has bounced inside a little bit this season, played the wide receiver position. I talked to Tim Kearse, the wide receiver coach for this team, about why they move him around and why not just leave him inside closer to Marvin Graves. And he said, you know, for the most part, Curtis Marsh is more comfortable at the wide receiver position. And that's the comparison we got. Travis Moore right now is leading the way, but Curtis Marsh has had a bunch of big fourth quarters this season.
A little option as Davis tries to turn the corner. He does. There's a flag down, but Davis will have enough for the first down if it's not against Saskatchewan.
We talk a lot about the guys out there catching the ball, running the ball, Darren Davis, but game's won and lost right down in the middle.
I think this one is coming back.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 68. Repeat, second down.
Game's won and lost in those trenches, and you got a guy like Joe Fleming rushing. Joe Fleming is right here. He's working on Andrew Green, the guy who got the penalty, and he goes 100% all the time, and Andrew Green is forced to grab the jersey from the outside. That's your penalty, and that is where the game is won and lost, and that is a matchup that is going to be a good one to watch the rest of the way.
Now, it would have been a first down. Instead, it's second and a whole bunch. Riders need 13 yards for a first down. They're at the 44. Shotgun for Graves. Marsh laid out, couldn't bring it home. They didn't miss that combination by much. Anthony Pryor was covering on Marsh, and with him step for step.
Well, Andrew Green gets the penalty on the holding and goes right back at Joe Fleming. The battle down in there, we don't talk about him a whole lot. There's Green right there. This time he gets a little help from his friends initially, and he does his job, tracking him right across the line of scrimmage and not letting him get in the face of Marvin Graves. So 1-1 in that little exchange in our matchup.
One other game in the CFL tonight, also the beginning of a home-and-home series. The Lions leading Edmonton 7-3. They're in the first quarter in Vancouver. We'll catch the second half of that next Friday night.
And go!
In Edmonton. Warren waits for a nice punt from Paul McCallum. Ends up with a decent return out to the 35. So 1st and 10 Calgary when we return. It's early in the third, and the Stamps still control this one. Time for the Roughriders to get it going. They're down by 13 here early in the third quarter.
Guys, Shante Peoples has a strain below the right knee. Ivan Goodfriend, the athletic therapist, says it's nothing serious, but it is hampering him a little bit, but he's going to stay in there and see what he can do.
Didn't Ivan used to be your best friend?
Yeah, I needed him. He was our MVP for a lot of years. Probably still is.
Danielson made the catch. Short of the first down by about 4.
Well, that gives Fred Childress a little bit of an advantage when Shante Peoples not playing at 100% in that matchup. Not that Fred Childress needs any advantages.
A couple of old teammates going at it tonight. Peoples against Childress. Another first down, missed tackle, and Danielson turns this into a big gain for the Stampeders all the way down to the 40-yard line. Crandall is getting the job done so far tonight.
You remember the movie Top Gun?
I do. Tom Cruise.
You remember when Tom Cruise was in the jet and he slammed on the brakes and the guy just blew right by?
Yeah.
Well, that was what Vince Anderson just did right there to move up the
Jackie
catches all the
Mitchell?
time.
It's the little Top Gun play.
A little Top Gun.
Yeah. Okay. So Danielson moves up in the Stampeder all-time receiver standings. On first down, Antonio Warren.
Well, his best game heading into this game for Vince Danielson was versus Winnipeg, and that was 5 catches for 68 yards. And he really hasn't had a breakout game yet this season. But then again, when Mark Boerichter's catching 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games and Travis Moore's leading the league, you only have one football.
And it's tough to spread it around and keep absolutely everyone happy back there. Gain is 3. This is 2nd and 7 Stampeders. Crandall with time. Nah, it evaporated in a hurry. Is that a loose ball? Yes, it is. Saskatchewan picks it up. It's Shante Peoples at the 40-yard line.
This is a gutsy effort from Shante Peoples because he starts it all coming off the edge, working. This time it's on Thomas Ram because he's to the wide field. All night long he's been working on Fred Childress, and remember, he's playing hurt, but he comes off the edge from the right of your screen, shoots in between Antonio Warren, and he gets his hand in there and swats the football away. Remember, he's playing on one leg, gets up and still chases that football down, and he was just about ready to scoop it up and go for a touchdown.
3rd fumble of the year recovered by Shante Peoples. And he's been a force for Saskatchewan all season long since coming over from the Stampeders. Calgary has turned it over twice now. First down, Saskatchewan. Zarka.
You know, and John, plays like that and performances like that from Shante Peoples, if he can hang in there the rest of the game, that's how you really build leadership on your football team. This is a new team for Shante Peoples. And this is a team that's been looking for leadership on both sides of the ball. We talked about how they've struggled stopping the run. Well, Shante Peoples playing on one leg and making plays like that, that's where you get the respect and the leadership.
In his 6th CFL season, hasn't lost a step. Zarka picked up 5. Shotgun for Graves. Flag was down, and the catch could not be made by Curtis Marsh.
Kelly Malvo coming off the edge from the secondary. The extra defensive back for the Calgary Stampeders was very close. I don't know if he was drawn offside or he was offside.
Offside. Calgary number 3.
Thank you. He was offside. I asked the question. I got the answer.
Well, Jake will answer those questions
Jake
for
answered it for me, and it was Kelly Malvo. He was coming off the edge trying to time up a blitz. And the secondary guys don't blitz very much. You get maybe 1, 2 every couple of games. And when you do get a chance to go after the quarterback who's been trying to beat you deep all game long, sometimes you can get a little anxious.
Riders are 1st and 10. Inside the Calgary 35. Graves with time and a target. No flags. Tight coverage, though, on Curtis Marsh.
Yeah, it was. It was blanket coverage. And Greg Freres, the safety, was coming downhill at it as well. So Curtis Marsh really didn't have much of a window to see that football.
Pryor was the other defender for the Stampeders.
Greg Freres, the backbone of that secondary with all the changes. He's going to break on this ball, read the quarterback, and look how close he is. He's right on top of the numbers. He had a good chance at that interception.
He has the only Stampeder interception coming into this game. Greg Freres.
Calling the signals, make sure everyone's lined up properly.
2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. There's the toss, and no flag there either. Double coverage on Jason French.
You know, again, the Boo Birds are out a little bit on Marvin Graves, but I don't know why. He has not had a target to throw the football to. That's double coverage again. See Aldi Henry over the top.
Yeah, I'm not thinking they were booing the quarterback there. I thought they might have been booing the guys in the striped shirts.
They've been on Marvin Graves all night long, and I just don't see guys breaking wide open for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Riders will settle for a field goal attempt. McCallum is 0 for 2. His last try from 55, and he hits this one. So a positive beginning to the 3rd quarter for the Roughriders. They now trail by 10. It's Wendy's CFL Live from to be back in the ball game.
You're exactly right, John. He has a hyperextended knee. They taped it. I looked at Kelvin Anderson. I said, "Are you coming back in?" And he said, "No, I'm not." So it is a hyperextension. He's taped the ice on it, and it appears that he's done for the evening.
Thanks, Ray. That's my first correct diagnosis of the season.
Yeah, first, and I'm going to make a note.
Stampeders first down. Nice play action fake by Crandall. And he has a target complete on the far side at the 50-yard line. Vince Danielson comes back in bounds after making the catch.
Well, Calvin Anderson may lose a little ground in the rushing derby. He had 41 yards tonight before he left the game, and he's right on the heels of Ron Williams and a little bit more behind Mike Pringle. But it's a wise move with a lot of football left to be played in the regular season, and then you want to go into the playoffs. Don't rush them.
And Antonio Warren has done a nice job on returns and from that Stampeder backfield. This is a reverse to the far side. Nice fake to Warren in the middle. Morgan made the stop on Travis Moore.
Different formations and different ways to get Travis Moore the football. Look where he's lined up. Not over here where he usually lines up, here. Then he gets out of the backfield. So if you're tracking him with Eddie Davis, you got to put Eddie Davis right in the middle of the formation, and then he's got to fly over there to get involved. Kind of hide him back in there behind the line of scrimmage.
7 yards for Travis Moore on his first carry of the night.
This has been fun to watch so far tonight. It's not over yet.
2nd and 3, Stampeders here. Play action fake, complete. Regenbald makes the catch. Scott Regenbald, his 2nd reception of the season. So we're not used to seeing him involved in the offense a great deal. His first covered 5 yards.
Neither was Troy Asbell. He watched a whole bunch of film on the Calgary Stampeders, and he was supposed to cover Scott Regenbald. But he never catches a pass, so he didn't really think about it. He looked at the quarterback, and Regenbald got outside of him.
Nice little 17-yard gain for Regenbald. And the Stampeder drive continues now at the Roughrider 35. Calgary leads by 10. Antonio Warren gets it this time after a couple of nice fakes on the previous 2 plays to him.
Antonio Warren has 670 yards heading into this game all-purpose. Obviously, he's added to that tonight, getting a chance to run the football out of the backfield and a chance to get some live reps. It's one thing to practice a lot during the week, during the work week. It's a whole nother thing to get out there when it's high intensity and you're playing against the opponent. He's holding his own so far, and then some.
This is 2nd and 5, Calgary from the Saskatchewan 30. Crandall with time under the coverage. He has Regenbald again, and he's inside the 20 for another Stampeder first down.
Well, Regenbald, the secret weapon for the Calgary Stampeders, getting a chance to catch the football. Antonio Warren on the last play had to make a block. It was on Travis Smith, and he blocked well enough to let Marcus Crandall throw the football. Because that's one thing that Calvin Anderson does very well and has done throughout his career. Yes, he's got 1,000 yards every time he's lined up for Calgary in every single season he's played. He also blocks efficiently.
Regenbald another 15 yards. Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 15. Travis Moore, he'll score his 2nd touchdown of the night, beating Jackie Mitchell as Travis Moore just came over the middle, and it was pretty well a waltz to the end zone.
I want to show you the block that makes this happen. Little dump pass across the middle. Antonio Warren is the key, though. He gets the assist on this one. He makes the key block. Watch this right here. Blitz is coming, and Antonio Warren steps up and takes it on right in the middle of the defense. Look, that's George White. He holds him off right there. That gives Crandall enough time to throw it over the middle. Little dump pass, and Travis Moore again with those yards after the catch gets in for his 2nd touchdown of the night.
So a slow start for Moore in the touchdown derby, with just his first coming last week, but he has 2 tonight, so he's right back in it. And the Stampeders with a very impressive drive. Travis Moore 2 touchdowns on 6 receptions, 160 yards, and the big one was 57 for the TD, his first of the night.
2 key blocks in a row for Antonio Warren. One that went to Scott Regenbald. Here's Warren in the backfield, and he's going to come up and do a real nice job as Scott Regenbald gets out of there, and he's going to be the intended receiver. Look at this block off the edge on Travis Smith. Just enough to slow him down. Crandall gets the throw. Now here's another one. Watch this one right up here. Steps up, sees the blitz is coming from George White. That's a little running back taking on the block of a linebacker. Allows Crandall to dump it over the middle, and that's how the play works. 12 guys all have a responsibility. If one guy breaks down, the play does not work. And you can see everybody had their man well protected. Travis Moore did the rest.
So Warren helping out on a touchdown by Travis Moore.
Well, they could at least sit closer together if one guy's going to block for the other guy.
But you see Warren's a newcomer.
Well, I'll tell you something.
Moore's a veteran.
And Moore doesn't know he made the block. He won't know until tomorrow when they watch the tape.
Here's Rock Preston returning for Saskatchewan on the Stampeder kickoff. Had a nice one last time. Not quite as successful this time. He's out across the 35 on a 13-yard return. 6 plays to cover 75 yards.
That 17-yard catch by Regenbald. One of 2 catches on that drive. Crandall running the offense. Efficiency there. Sitting beside his #1 target. You're my best friend right now, buddy.
There you go. Well, if you're a quarterback getting your start and getting your football team for the first time, you really want to sit next to Travis Moore.
Yeah, and then there's Warren at the other end going, hey, dude, I made the block.
Remember me, number 6. I'm new here. Flags are down. And is that a catch? Roll Preston rolls over after making it. It looked like it might have skipped to him, but we'll check out the infraction first. They do rule it a catch. Jacobs was there for the tackle.
Danny Barrett walked almost onto the field and waved his arms as if to decline the penalty.
Offside. Calgary number 99. Declined. First down.
Rock Preston in the backfield for Darren Davis.
It's hard to get that third win, isn't it?
It can be at times.
Last year it took 10 games before they won 3. Their first win last year came in August.
Danny Barrett after his 8th win as the coach. This is Rock Preston, and he's got positive yards, a couple shy of the first down. Alondra Johnson and Fells on the tackle.
And you know, they started so well with that comeback win versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Lost a close one to Edmonton in Edmonton. Then they went out there and beat BC in a real close defensive type of game. And then back-to-back losses.
Woo. And the one here when all the enthusiasm was surrounding this football team.
Yeah.
Giving up 50 points to get the Argonauts on their little 2-game win streak. That one has really not gone over too well here in Saskatchewan.
Well, it didn't with the team either.
No. 2nd and 3. Intercepted. It was tipped. And Barnes came up with it, and now the Boo Birds are out.
Yeah, and again, though, it's Marvin Graves that's getting booed. And that's what happens here in Saskatchewan. But Roll Preston put the brakes on. Marvin Graves is throwing this football to a spot. And I may sound a little bit like I'm defending him, but I'm seriously not. Watch this.
It's tipped too, Glenn, I think.
This is a quick throw. 2 steps, and the ball has got to be out of there. Look at this, right into the middle. Now he's throwing to a spot. The spot is where Roll Preston has to finish his pattern. Preston put the brakes on, and that one's intercepted.
So the turnovers are even, but it's anything but that on the scoreboard. Calgary on top 21-4. Antonio Warren escapes and a penalty marker comes down.
Cedric Harden was up there complaining in a big way in his second game. Had a sack in his first game, so they were excited about him, and he was complaining, so this one may be coming back.
Holding. Calgary number 89. Repeat first down.
So that's Mark Bowrichter.
Well, Joe Barnes was the guy who came in and replaced Jack Kellogg, who was cut after the Calgary Stampeders got off to an 0-3 start. Was kind of quietly executing his position for the first couple of games, but comes up with a big play here in the interception. And just feel like he has a little bit better cover ability than Jack Kellogg had.
Yeah, this is his 4th start. He's a school teacher who'd been out of football for some time. Taught grade 7 math. Travis Moore, one more, and grabbed from behind by Shante Peoples. That'll be the final play of the 3rd quarter, and the Stampeders definitely in control of this one at 21-4.
Wendy, CFL live at the quarter.
All right, it is 21-4 after 3 quarters. Dressing 2 American backs has sure turned out to be a good thing for Calgary, hasn't it, Eric?
Well, actually, I criticized Saskatchewan for doing the same thing, but the difference with Antonio Warren, he's a return guy. When we were in Toronto, we had Robert Drummond and Pinball Clemens. Pinball was a great returner. Winnipeg, they have the little guy Rogers. He's a great returner. You got Rock Preston. He's not giving you anything. When Warren can do 2 different things, he helps you in the return game. And then in worst case scenario, like tonight, when Anderson goes down, he's really a difference maker.
Well, Eric, you had mentioned in the first quarter how they're Calvin Anderson around the outside. Well, they're doing the same thing with Antonio Warren having success. So what does Calgary do? Well, they answer Saskatchewan's field goal, McCallum's 39-yarder, with a fantastic drive down the football field. feeding off the play action set up by the running game. They go play action, play action, play action, then Reginbald catching balls, and you got more across the middle running across the entire defense. Calgary's got it going, Chris, and it's based upon the simple, the running game.
Oh, you better believe it. And the running game had a lot to do with the success of Calgary in the sense that they took out Saskatchewan's best running back, Darren Davis. If you watch this play, a perimeter play, that should be an open space. But there you see it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Calgary Stampeders right at the point of attack. The defensive line's doing a great job of Cotton and Jacobs and Traversy and Fleming. Well-coached unit, and that's why they're winning this game.
One-sided game in Regina right now. There's also a one-sided game going on at BC Place. The Edmonton Eskimos are trailing 21-6. And how about Damon Allen? 2 touchdown passes in the first 3 weeks of the season, 8 in the last 3, and this third week is not over yet. BC up big. Back to John and Glenn for the fourth quarter.
Well, so far it's been all Calgary Stampeders, but this is the weekend that we always get hit up for $100.
Yeah,
and the Saskatchewan Roughriders touchdown lottery is underway. The draw we made in October, $828,000 in prizes.
It's the most expensive game we're involved with all season long because it's $100 each.
Yeah, and the thing is, we've never won a thing. Oh, I should correct that. I did win a car warmer, but a $29.95 car warmer.
What is a car warmer?
Well, they're bigger in Saskatchewan than they are in other parts of the country. Anyway, the lottery is underway. If you can support the Riders and you're a big Rider fan, spend $100. Coming back to make the catch, Aubrey Cummings, and that's the way the night has gone for the Calgary Stampeders. So here's how it looks through 3 quarters, and it's a clear dominance by the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, dominance by the Stampeders, 400 yards. Travis Moore, the big difference in this game for Calgary with 320 after 3 quarters in the passing department. A lot of those yardage to Travis Moore. He's just winning the one-on-one battle, and a lot of times we talked about it tonight. It's been with Eddie Davis. Not every time, but a lot of the times it's been with Eddie Davis. So right now it's Moore winning that battle with 166 yards.
Another Calgary first down inside the Saskatchewan 45. And Reginbald got to carry that time after making 2 receptions in the third quarter. He stumbled and was nailed by Nate Davis, the rookie guy along the Saskatchewan defensive line.
Had a quick conversation with Travis Moore before the game, and I said, hey, the guys behind you are catching up. I talked about Daryl Mitchell. He was right behind Travis Moore. Going into this week, just 4 yards back of him, and of course, Milt Stiegel not far behind either. He said, you know, I don't look at that. All I want is to win. And then he said, how many yards was it?
Yeah, well, he's got 166 tonight, so he'll pad his lead a little bit when this one is over. Vince Danielson heads to the end zone, and he's out at the 1-yard line. There's no signal down there, so it's about the 1-yard line for Danielson. And he is after his 2nd touchdown of the season.
He's arguing that he got into the end zone. Just a busted coverage from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. No way Danielson should be that wide open. And the deal was half of the team played man-to-man. The other half thought it was zone by the looks of it, because couple of defensive backs running with their men and a couple of guys trying to drop to areas, and Ladolfius McCullough tries to push him out. I don't know, did he get over that?
Well, he made a game effort at it, got the ball to cross the plane before he went out of bounds, but they'll take a nice little 40-yard gain and be set up at the 1-yard line. 1st and goal to go from there for the Stampeders, already comfortably in the lead. And a huge pile down there. The signal has not come from the officials as yet, as Antonio Warren got the call and the carry.
Riders are having problems stopping the Calgary Stampeders tonight, so they tried to add another guy there. And
I think there might be too many.
Yeah, they got caught
in green.
Saskatchewan, first down.
And it's all green too. One of the few times, well, the first time this year that the Riders went with the green jerseys and the green pants.
You must have looked good in all green, huh? Like a great big pickle.
I look slower for some reason. Of course, I look slow in the white too. Actually, I look slow in the green pants and the yeah, okay, maybe I was just slow.
Anyway, that wasn't your favorite uniform, I guess.
No, it wasn't.
Another crack at it for the Stampeders from the 1. They won't be denied this time as Warren goes up and over the top, and Calgary has 27 points on the board. The Roughriders just 4.
See those new Montreal Alouette uniforms? They lose a game, they go buy new uniforms. I'm not sure what's up with that. But
they must be making money.
Well, I think they are over there in Montreal. What did you think of them? Took a look at them?
Yeah.
You're going to reserve judgment?
I think you reserve judgment on
reserve judgment till we see them brand new. Tony O'Warren get a little payday here after some hard yards throughout this game.
We'll see them up close next Thursday night.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll take a look at them then, up close.
Rod Rust and company have their 5th win of the season. It was a nail-biter for a bit against the Tiger Cats in the late going. But they still won by 10 points. So the Alouettes, the class of the league, at 5-1. Winnipeg moved into 2nd place with that win last night at 4-2. Hamilton is at 3-3, and the Argos slipped to 2-4. And in the West tonight, the Lions are in control of things with the Edmonton Eskimos in BC. They were leading 21-3 in the 3rd quarter. Here it's 28-4, Calgary in a very comfortable spot. Season for the Calgary Stampeders, and Antonio Warren has moved into his own with 809 all-purpose yards. I shouldn't say a solid season. I should say a solid performance tonight, because the Stampeders are still searching for their 2nd win. They've been close a couple of times, and last week lost by 1 to the Argos in a game that was certainly winnable.
Well, he's had a solid season when he's asked to do whatever he's asked to do, which is punt return and kickoff returns.
A little reverse here. Brock Preston for Darren Davis. Davis is still on his feet, but he wasn't going anywhere. He was pretty well running on the spot.
Well, he's done it tonight with the ball, and he's done it without the ball. Show you that block one more time right here on George White. This was the Travis Moore touchdown, and I love to show you these things because it happens away from the football. As fans, we tend to watch just what happens to the guy who goes in the end zone, but a lot happens away from that as well, and then he gets a little payday there with the touchdown over the top.
Natives a little restless in Saskatchewan with the performance of the Riders tonight, and they're zeroing in on the quarterback, Marvin Graves, who has a first down here, and no catch there as Marsh laid out and couldn't bring it home.
You see the coverage that is on Curtis Marsh. I mean, if he's going to make that catch, it has to be a spectacular catch. Joe Barnes all over him. You know, and what you do before the ball arrives is more important than what you do when it arrives. And if you can't give your quarterback a target, and I'm talking about across the board for those guys, it makes it tough on Marvin Graves. And Joe Barnes has done a job tonight with an interception against Marsh.
Only the 2nd interception of the season for the Stampeders. Shotgun for Graves over the middle, and this time he has Dylan Ching. That's a big gain for Saskatchewan out near the 45 now.
One of the few times Calgary went with the zone defense, and Dylan Ching found the hole in the zone, and that's one of the few times that there hasn't been coverage all over these Saskatchewan receivers. You know that Calgary will go back to man-to-man. That's what they've had success with all game long.
Riders in a hurry-up offense, no huddle here. 3 receivers near side on first down. And no one was home there.
Went back to man-to-man. Joe Barnes all over Roll Preston. And they haven't run a lot of the zone coverage, but this is the zone drops. Dylan Ching, number 22. You see how they're just dropping to areas there? He slips behind that and finds that little area in the zone. And what does Calgary do? Right back on the next down. They go back to what's worked, and that's man-to-man, and Joe Barnes is all over Roll Preston. No completion.
This will be 2nd and 10. Riders from the 45, shotgun again. Time to go deep. And yes, a flag does come down this time. The coverage a little too tight on Anthony Pryor, by Anthony Pryor, on Curtis Marsh.
Yeah, Pryor just mistimed the jump. That's all he did. We'll just show you the end. It's right up at the top of your screen. See, he jumped way too early.
Pass interference. Calgary, number 37. First down.
Yeah, that's just timing. Timing is everything. Keeps the drive alive, but he was still in perfect position. And again, that's man-to-man defense for Calgary. He's in perfect position, just doesn't time it properly.
Riders really have to come away with points here. First down at the 33. And a little off the target there, with the target being Darren Davis. Pryor was around last year, so was Greg Frères. But everybody else is new back there, right?
Yeah, and Jack Kellogg, that happened during the year. Marvin Coleman went over to Winnipeg in the offseason. Of course, we talked about Eddie Davis being here. So Ricky Bell came from the XFL, been real happy with his aggressive play. And now Joe Barnes starting to step up a little bit.
2nd and 10. Davis made the catch, and he turned it into a first down as Bell had him locked up. Ricky Bell, number 26.
Well, that pass wasn't perfect by Marvin Graves because of the pressure, and Darren Davis had to kind of slow down to catch it. Really didn't get any momentum. He's right there in your screen. He's going to take off across the middle. See if he catches this one on the dead run. He probably outruns Ricky Bell's tackle.
Could have used a block from 87 there too, though. So gambling on 3rd down and 5 to go. Shotgun formation. Riders need points here. The end zone toss, and it's not there.
Coverage is
intended
all over.
for James Epps.
Pryor is right on him, stride for stride. Danny Barrett knows you can't throw it through another defender.
So the Riders get inside the 35 and come up empty again. Tight coverage here on James Epps. Story brought to you by SportCheck.ca, Canada's choice for sporting goods. You're on.
Big game by Travis Moore. Marcus Crandall, his 4th 300-plus yard passing game during this season. Antonio Warren, 54 yards rushing and a touchdown, and a couple of big blocks to spring Travis Moore for his touchdown.
Not too much nice to say about the guys in green with 9:13 to go. Antonio Warren. And there's Nate Green, Nate Davis, I should say, who is in on the tackle.
You said green because he's in all green.
Yeah.
But Nate Davis has done a nice job, though. The Calgary Stampeders really haven't beat Saskatchewan tonight by running the football right down their throat.
Riders pretty well have the market cornered on Davis's. They've got Nate and Eddie and Darren, 3 in the lineup. And only 1 green.
Well,
that's Andrew.
Andrew Green.
Antonio Warren again.
But that has been a real sort of audition process up in that defensive line between Nate Davis, Cedric Harden, Kevin Holmes, and they keep trying to rotate guys through that defensive line to find someone solid in the middle. Warren has done a nice job running the football tonight, but that's not really been what has killed the Roughriders. Some big plays, some turnovers at the wrong time.
The 14 points off turnovers, that's half of what the Stampeders have up on the board now.
Yeah, and number 83. That's the other thing for Calgary. I mean, he's just killed them tonight. But Nate Davis and Cedric Harden may be keepers.
O'Mahony's kick. And it's Roll Preston, wrapped up neatly by Ricky Bell. So the Stampeders are winning in all phases of this game. First half of a home-and-home doubleheader that continues in Calgary next week. They couldn't figure out things here tonight. And the cheer is for the backup Keith Smith. We talked about it earlier. The backup quarterback in Saskatchewan can be the most popular person in the province at times. We'll see what Smith can do. First pass is on target.
Of course.
And that happens.
Yeah. And
Roll Preston made the catch.
That's always the way it happens. That first throw is right on the money for a completion, and the crowds go nuts.
50% in preseason for 121 yards, 1 touchdown.
Hasn't taken a snap in the regular season, and it's a lot different to come in a game where you're down 28-4 and to start a game. But we'll see what happens with Keith Smith. 49 different quarterbacks have lined up for the Riders since 1968.
And they have booed some of the best here. They've booed
all of them.
They have booed John Huffnagel and Joe Barnes and Ron Lancaster and Kent Austin.
Those are some of the big names that have been booed. But you look down the list, I mean, you got, remember
Calgary.
Remember Lloyd Patterson?
Not for a second. I do remember Bubba White, who backed up Lancaster, and Gary Lane, and Bob Pierce and Randy Mattingly, who was Don Mattingly's brother.
Well, let's move closer to, my time.
To real time? That's when you were still in diapers back then.
Yeah, Heath Rylance. Remember him?
I remember Heath Rylance.
A little bit. You remember Michael Proctor back in 1993? Remember him?
No, I don't remember him.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't here for a long time.
No, he was in 93.
Mason was here.
Yeah, Kevin Mason. You got Michael Payton, no relation to Alfred.
No, don't remember him as doing anything too much.
The question is, they've all been booed. All 49 of them. Now, the question is, will Keith Smith become the next Ron Lancaster or the next Michael Proctor?
Well, the odds are he will be Michael Proctor, because we have a skirmish down there in the field and flags flying everywhere. After Saskatchewan got the first down, it's Traversy and O'Day going at it. Right now, Keith Smith gets his chance, and he has a first down. So what he's managed to do so far is complete his first pass and then get a first down right after that. Went to the Saskatchewan Riders training camp last year and then retired rather quickly. He's a 4-year guy with the Arizona Wildcats and threw for almost 6,000 career yards in college.
Oh, he can throw. He's got a cannon on him.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Saskatchewan number 67. Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Calgary number 94. First down.
It's almost time for a hot tub, don't you think?
Well, swimming events at the Canada Games will take place later in the week, but tomorrow we'll have men's basketball. New Brunswick versus Quebec as our coverage of the events of the Canada Games in London, Ontario begins tomorrow. We saw the ceremonies today. Events start tomorrow, so I hope you can join us for some of that from London.
We were on that 6:55 Air Canada to get here this morning, and my neck is still not the same. I'm thinking that hot tub looks pretty good right now.
First down, Saskatchewan. Keith Smith now at the controls, and he missed his second, looking for Roll Preston. He was a little low. I watched him during warm-up, or at least before the game, and he's got a great sidearm toss. I don't know if he uses it.
I was watching him too, and he was throwing the ball pretty hard from about 60, 65 yards deep into the end zone in warm-up. And he was trying to throw into the wind, so he does have a strong arm. Marvin Graves, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm defending Marvin Graves, but Roll Preston on that interception should be, that's the guy who should get that stat.
Shotgun. Smith has to move out of there. Got a great block. Nifty move. And he rolls himself to about an 8-yard gain.
Oh, you got to see this, though. You got to see the hit.
It was Davis on Fleming, and that's the block you're talking about. But an inspirational run for Saskatchewan fans from Keith Smith, even though he's short of the first down by about 3 yards.
193 versus 240. Watch number 8. Peel back. Joe Fleming doesn't see him coming, and bam! Oh, baby. and Fleming jumps up. That's part of the game for him. He loves that. He's got a big smile on his face, and away he goes.
Yeah, when we talk to him again, we'll remind him of that. Skinny little guy taking you down like that. Third down, Riders go gambling, and Smith goes down. So welcome to the CFL. Keith Smith, you've now been sacked.
Okay, well, not good news for the Riders, obviously, but we got to go back to that hit. Joe Fleming, Darren Davis. Oh man. That's good on Darren Davis. And when you look at this game, in the first half, we showed you for the Saskatchewan Roughriders that there was balance in the offensive attack. Exactly 50% passes, 50% runs. Darren Davis in the first half had 10 touches. Touched the ball 10 times, either the backfield or through the air. In the third quarter, it was 1. He now has 2. You see the big difference? You see the trend? Okay.
Antonio Warren wrapped up in the backfield by Cedric Harden.
And then, John, with the game basically out of hand for Saskatchewan, Darren Davis comes back with a pretty good hit on Joe Fleming. And, just an important part of this team. And I know when you get behind, it's you know, the tendency is to throw the football.
Stampeders at midfield, looking at 2nd and 12. Tunkara made the catch. He's short of the first down. So Crandall's had a pretty nice night for the Stampeders.
Yeah,
and when you look at his record of 1 win and 4 losses coming into this, first of all, he didn't start game 1 and came in relief there, Ben Sankey.
And played about three quarters in that game. That was a loss to Winnipeg in the opening part of the season, the first game of the season. Only had 174 yards, but after that, in the next 4 games, 3 of them he threw for over 300 yards, and during that time, 3 interceptions and 6 touchdowns. Marcus Crandall was putting together good numbers. In fact, one point was ranked number 1.
Well, he's ranked as number 1 among the passers percentage-wise at 67.7. And with 2 touchdowns tonight, he's now fired 9 of those. Here's Roll Preston, looks to turn the corner, slides around, and he's near the 30-yard line with 4:15 to go.
I love when this happens. When we do our little keys and they work out, I love when this happens. Thought Calgary had to increase the intensity. 4 big turnovers. They had 3 coming into this game after 5 weeks. They balanced the attack with the backs with Saskatchewan in the first half, went away from it in the third quarter, and that hurt them.
And you said no Newt needed, no big speeches before the game. Now, the Riders might have needed that at halftime tonight and may need a little inspiration coming up after this with 4:06 to go. 1st and 10. Riders. Smith stands in. Goes to the far side, and he's completed 2 out of 3. Both completions to Roll Preston.
Well, I got to throw it to Matt Dunning. I just ask quickly, Matty, am I going overboard on this Darren Davis thing? And let me ask you about Marvin Graves. I may sound like I protected him a little bit tonight, but I didn't think it was all his fault.
Oh, no, it wasn't. You know, and people are probably saying, oh, yeah, sure, Dunnigan, you know, go with the quarterback. But I tell you, it's a team effort out there, and they're going to look to Marvin because that's the nature of the beast, and he gets paid to move the ball, but he's got to have some help. And tonight, he didn't have a lot of help. They weren't making plays, and it just comes down to that. What I like now, though, what I see, Darren Davis is still playing hard. Knockout shot on Fleming. You see Preston on the return there. He could have easily gone out of bounds there, but he turns it up, tries to make something happen. The Saskatchewan team's got no give up in them.
Flag down on the play, as indicated by Darren Davis down there. 28-4.
Calgary number 26. First down.
Chris, on the other hand, Calgary Stampeders, boy, did they need this one in a big way at 1-4 coming in.
Well, I tell you what, you talk to the coaching staff, Wally Buono, they all said we're getting better and better and better, but until you start winning games, you don't really believe it in your heart. So yes, this is a big game for this team. And I think they're going to be one of the better teams in the second half of the season, Glenn.
Preston has another catch. That's Roll Preston. Touchdown at the 53-yard line by Joe Barnes. Guys, hang in there. We'll chat with you in a minute about other quarterbacks and other things when we come back to Taylor Field in Regina.
Have another burger, guys. We'll be back.
Night for the Saskatchewan Roughriders on home turf. This will be back-to-back losses here. This one not quite as humiliating as the last one against the Argonauts, but the Riders haven't been able to show very much tonight. It's Keith Smith at the controls, and this is Darren Davis breaking one. Davis could go. Not quite, but he's dropped at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that's what
hey, how about huge speed there, guys? James Cotton caught him from behind.
That's what Matt Dunnigan was talking about with the not giving up. Darren Davis, one of those guys we saw him with a big hit on Joe Fleming. Then he takes off on this run, and he's not quitting even though they're down. He wants to show that he should be getting the football every single time. I talked about how they went away from him in the third quarter. So he's not quitting, that's for sure.
Smith from the shotgun. His first touchdown toss is intercepted. It's been that way all night. Second interception of the season for Greg Frères, who's still standing as he crosses the 40-yard line. We've talked about Saskatchewan problems here, Eric. Quick thought about how Calgary has performed tonight, and in particular Marcus Crandall, who's put up some impressive numbers and just not been able to come up with a victory, except once.
Well, I think, clearly Marcus Crandall is growing and developing, and I think a lot of the credit has to go to George Cortez, who's always done an outstanding job. And I think the thing that they've done in terms of design, they've given him a chance to be successful. You see them oftentimes with formations, giving them wing help, giving him a little more time for routes to develop. And he's really reaching the potential that when Edmonton once had this young guy, they thought he could reach. But,
Eric,
yeah, go ahead.
Eric, on the other side of the table, you look at the problems they're having. Marvin Graves, I don't think it was all his fault tonight, but is Roy Shivers in a position now where he's got to go and find a guy who can come in and has a little experience, or does he still develop these young guys?
Well, Glenn, I think he has to develop the young guys, but when you're a year and a half into a rebuilding project and you've got questions at quarterback, then you clearly have problems. I think in retrospect, and it's always easy to second guess, but if they could do it over, the thing that they probably wish that they had done, when they signed Henry Burris, when they gave him an opportunity to be the number one, they should have signed him to a 2-year and an option. When you're giving a young guy a chance to be the guy, you have some leverage. If they had signed him to a 2-year and an option, he would not have had the window to go to the National Football League. He would still be there now, and then they could take their time developing Keith Smith and Kevin Glenn instead of having to rush them in before they're ready.
Are you writing off Graves completely, Mr. Tillman?
Well, I think that clearly when you look at this offense, going into this game, they were last in the league in 11 different offensive categories. It's not his fault, but I think Matt said it best. This is a guy you can win with, not because of. And what they're doing offensively, they're spreading the field, and they're asking him to be a Damon Allen. He's not. If you have Marvin Graves, I think you have to have more of a two-back, conventional offense, play action, do things like Montreal's doing with Anthony Calvillo, let him develop his confidence and grow into the position instead of asking him to carry the football team.
The Stampeders have a little Keystone Cop action going themselves tonight. That's Ben Sankey in there. He started the season for Calgary and injured his thumb, and that was what we saw when he went out of the first game of the season. It just sort of fell off his hand, or fell out of his hand. Anyway, not a classic beginning for Sankey.
When you look across this Saskatchewan Roughrider team, though, I mean, Marvin Graves hasn't started a whole lot of games, but look at the receiving corps. We've talked a lot about Curtis Marsh. Curtis Marsh is in his second year. I mean, yes, he's good, but this is not a 7-8 year receiver. James Epps, second year. Ben Dross, second year. Preston is a rookie.
I mean, Jason French is, for all intents and purposes, brand new. They are missing Dan Farthing, and we talked to Farthing earlier this evening, and Farthing is not the guy who's going to win every game for you, but he's a guy who's going to come up and make clutch catches for you in critical situations. And the Riders wouldn't be as desperate as they are right now had Farthing been around for the entire season.
I agree 100%. That's the leadership issue.
Here's one more interception. We might as well show you a bunch. Kelly Malvo, or rather Pryor, taking it back to the 20. Anthony Pryor. It was intended for Marsh.
Well, Keith Smith got the big standing cheer when he threw that first completion when he came on the field and looked a little bit like Rick Cassato or Ron Lancaster or Joe Barnes.
Bubba White or Randy Mattingly. Or
and in the last two throws, he looked a little bit like
Larry Dick.
Michael Payton.
Tom Rosance.
John Bund.
Homer Jordan.
Hey, I played with Homer Jordan.
Now, Joey 747 Adams is on that list, too.
Yeah, he's also wanted in this city.
For what?
He left this city, I think, with a leased Mercedes and never showed up again.
Well, he was quick. There was no question about 747.
That's just speculation, by the way. Rumor has it.
Yeah, well, you better get a lawyer quick. Another Stampeder touchdown. Scott Diebert has 2 in 2 games. This time his first reception, and it comes from Ben Sankey.
Well, this is where the score at the end of the day just starts to look worse and worse.
And this is the problem. It's going to look worse tomorrow on the front page of the Leader Post.
Well, that's right.
And the Saskatoon Star Phoenix in Saskatchewan.
I was talking to Barrett about that Toronto game when they lost 50-24, and he said, you know, going into the fourth quarter, that was still a close game. And yes, they ran away with it in the fourth, but the score, we looked like we got blown out, and we looked like we were embarrassed. Shouldn't have been that way, and now it's going to be the same thing tonight.
Well, the newspapers, when they're following a football team, have a way of making those numbers look even bigger just by blowing them up and making the 54 a little bit larger. It's at 35-4 right now.
Another interception, though, for Calgary, and that's one thing we were talking about, is that the Stampeders really needed to do was to create some more turnovers, and they did that tonight.
Well, just one interception for the Stampeders coming into this one tonight.
Moore was number one coming in. Still number one. Marcus Crandall, another 300-plus yard game. He really played well all game long. 21 points off of those turnovers that I just talked about.
Yeah, 3 interceptions tonight. Ferris has his second of the season. Barnes has his first. And Pryor has one more. His first of the season as well.
Sometimes they come in bunches.
And 2 are off the backup quarterback, Keith Smith, so 2 came late.
So 4 turnovers for the Calgary Stampeders tonight. We had 14 last night.
But it was even last night, Glenn.
Yeah, 7
Toronto and Winnipeg, 7 turnovers each. People are still talking about that game today as we came into the ballpark. What was going on? There's still 1:41 to go in this one. Lions are leading 28-10 on Edmonton in the third. So here are the standings updated, conceding the victory to Calgary here as the Stampeders leapfrog over Saskatchewan with a record of 2-4 by virtue of this win.
Well, if the Lions win that really tightens things up. Now you're looking at 3-3.
And 3-2, Edmonton would hang on the top spot, but
because of that tie. But
Rock Preston.
With the catch, number 14, Rock Preston.
But then
the
you go over to
Alouettes.
the East, and Alouettes still running away with things a little bit.
Bombers, though, in second spot, hanging there after an impressive win, I thought, last night from start to finish. A real nice performance by the Bombers. Hamilton drops to 3-3 after losing to Montreal.
Well, Toronto will play Montreal next week. A great test for them, and that's on Thursday night. And then, of course, on Friday we go to the West with the BC Lions and Edmonton Eskimos. Another huge game. That could be for first place, depending on what happens in the rest of that game tonight. But talk about importance of a football game next week. Pretty important one between Saskatchewan and Calgary as well.
Yeah, the rematch here. And the Riders have not sparkled here tonight.
It's actually,
so it's going to be a little more difficult for Saskatchewan to go in and surprise the Stampeders on home turf at McMahon. But the number's there for tickets to the Stampeders' next home game, which is the rematch with Saskatchewan.
Well, that's a big, big pressure game for Danny Barrett and this Saskatchewan Roughrider team. Lose that one, and it's a big, huge mountain you have to climb to get back in the race.
Keith Smith has Rock Preston this time, and that'll be a first down, Roughriders, with 1:16 to go. Well, I'm glad you're back from your holiday in Halifax.
I knew you were going to get to that sooner or later.
The only color commentator in the history of color commentating to take a holiday right in the middle of the season.
Well, it wasn't really a holiday. I was working. I was the best man at my buddy's wedding. Congratulations again to Steve and Arlene. Steve does a little work with us with stats. And I, by the way, I won the fishing derby and the golf tournament.
Here's one more turnover. Aldi Henry has lots of open field as Smith has come in, and he actually ends up helping with the tackle there. Smith has tossed 3 interceptions looking for Curtis Marsh. Well, yes, congratulations to Steve and Arlene.
Now, congratulations to me on the fishing derby.
And yes.
Okay, then.
What did you catch?
Mackerel. Holy mackerel, we got a bunch of them. And this is what they're going to be saying when they look at Keith Smith's stats tomorrow. Holy mackerel, did he throw to the wrong team?
He certainly did.
Yeah.
That's his 3rd interception and Aldi Henry's first of the season. So the Rider quarterbacks have been good for what has been ailing the Stampeders secondary, at least statistically speaking.
Sometimes you need a game like that, even if it is mistakes on the other team, just to get some momentum, get some confidence. Next time out, you play a little more aggressively. First 5 games, they created 3. Tonight, 7.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That's a real big story for the Calgary Stampeder defense. Scott Diebert, who had 1 run for 1 yard and 1 touchdown coming into this game.
But he's a guy that covers every single kick, covers everything, single punt. Never really talk about him, but without him, you have no football team. You can't win without those guys.
Well, and he has 1 catch tonight and 1 touchdown. So you got to like the guy's percentage, don't you? Throw him the ball, he gets the end zone. Hand him the ball, he gets in too. Diebert again.
With the handoff in the force.
The big story, though, is Travis Moore, the #1 receiver in the CFL, coming in, and he'll continue leading the pack after a great evening tonight. 7 catches, 166, and a couple of touchdowns.
He's been such an important part of this offense since moving inside this year. He's throughout his career and in 7 years in Calgary has played the wide receiver position, but this year they have him inside of the slot back position, and boy, has he excelled there.
As you say that, he lines up outside this time, but they do a lot of shifting down there for the Stampeders. Moore is alone in the end zone, but the toss goes in another direction. 1 more turnaround. The turnabout for Sean Gallant on his interception. So that'll be his first of the season. And Sankey has thrown an interception into the end zone. That should be the final play of the game. And the Roughriders have lost again 35-4 on home turf. Lots of discussion about this football team over the next little while here in Regina and all over the province without question. Quick thought before we go.
I don't want to be in the press conference with Danny Barrett tomorrow. That's all.
No,
it'll be ugly.
Well, Wally Buono gets his 2nd win of the season, and things are a little happier in Cowtown.